Rappers are losing it fast over shocking claims that Johnny Deng sold them fake jewelry, and now it's all unfolding in court. What began with one artist switching jewelers has escalated into a major controversy.
I'm gonna take out the Johnny Dengs and put in the Geos. I'm sorry. I'm taking out these and I'm upgrading to these.
Now, with reputations at stake, this explosive case exposes a hidden side of the jewelry game. From nothing to the king of bling. Johnny Deng did not start as a jeweler. He came to the United States from Vietnam with nothing, his words, and built his first operation selling televisions, radios, and candy out of a shop in Houston. People in the city knew him as TV Johnny long before they knew him as the king of bling. He was a neighborhood hustler in the truest sense, moving product, grinding every day, and turning every transaction into the next one. That grind eventually led him to jewelry, and more specifically to grills, the diamond-encrusted dental caps that became one of the most iconic symbols in hip-hop culture. His shop, Johnny Deng & Company, became the destination for some of the biggest names in the music industry. Lil Wayne, Drake, Beyoncé, Travis Scott, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Cardi B, Floyd Mayweather. The list reads like a who's who of 2 decades worth of pop culture royalty. By the time his reputation was fully cemented, artists were flying in from across the country, some on private jets just to sit across from Johnny and describe what they wanted built. His team would design it in 3D, source the stones, set them by hand, and send the client out the door wearing something nobody else on the planet had. His custom pieces range from a few thousand on the low end to well over $500,000 for a single item. His brand became so tied to hip-hop that his jewelry appeared in music videos, on stage at major performances, and across the social media feeds of every artist who wanted to signal they had made it. Swalla was one of those artists. Albert Walker Mundane, born June 29, 1990, and known to Houston as Swalla, started rapping in 2007 and worked his way up through the city scene over the following years. He ran his own label, The Sauce Factory. He built a persona around extravagance, jewelry, money, and street credibility, and he credits himself with helping popularize the word drip in modern hip-hop slang before it became the language of an entire generation. Sauce Wallah was not a casual customer of Johnny Deng. He was one of Johnny's most consistent, longest-standing, highest-spending Houston clients. He claims the relationship started back when Johnny was still TV Johnny, selling goods out of the shop before diamonds were ever part of the picture. In clips that have circulated on TikTok and Instagram, S described it in his own words, explaining that he had known Johnny since the days when young men in their circle would break into cars, steal radios, and go sell them to Johnny to trade up for gold grills and earrings. That is how early the relationship goes. That is how street-level the bond was before any of this became about millions of dollars. Over the years, as both men rose, the relationship evolved. Sauce would spend big, Johnny would build big, and the whole cycle would get posted to social media with captions designed to show the world what was possible when Houston rap money met Houston jewelry craft. One of the most talked about transactions in their history was a $500,000 Cuban chain. Purchase was so large that it was reportedly handled directly at a Chase Bank branch rather than through a typical payment setup. Johnny's team posted about it publicly, calling it a monster piece. Swore it as a badge of loyalty, proof that he had been riding with Johnny since the beginning and was still spending at a level that most clients never reached. There were shopping sprees that hit $300,000 in a single visit. There were VVS earrings, custom rings, full sets of grills, and pieces built to match what Floyd Mayweather was wearing. Sauce himself put the total number somewhere around $500,000 across everything he spent there. And Johnny reciprocated the loyalty in his own way, posting the purchases, showcasing Sauce as a major client, treating the transactions as mutual wins for both their names in Houston. For years, this worked. For years, it was one of those partnerships that made Houston feel like it had its own ecosystem, a rapper and a jeweler who grew up in the same streets and rose together. Then, at some point between 2024 and 2026, something shifted. Sauce Walker wanted a bigger grill, a more elaborate grill, something that would set a new standard not just for him but for the whole state of Texas. He was ready to spend at a level beyond anything he had committed to before. But instead of getting that grill from Johnny Deng, he went somewhere else entirely. He went to a man named Jose J. Mata, known in the industry as Plug Geo. And Plug Geo was not a stranger to Johnny Deng's world. He was a former associate and ex-employee of the shop who had gone on to build his own competing business in Houston. When Sauce Walker walked through Plug Joe's door instead of Johnny's, he was not just switching jewelers. He was sending a message. And the message landed loud. The switch that started a war. The moment Sauce Walker went public with the switch, the internet caught fire. Did not happen quietly. Sauce did not simply post a photo of new jewelry and leave it at that. He staged it. He documented it. He made it a moment. The kind of dramatic, deliberate, camera-ready flex that only someone who has spent years building a public image knows how to execute. In a clip that started spreading across every corner of social media, Sauce Walker sat down and physically removed his Johnny Deng grills from his mouth on camera in front of everyone watching. He placed them aside and then installed the new set, the one he had commissioned from Plug Geo, while narrating the whole thing like a man who had rehearsed exactly what he wanted the world to feel watching it.
World's most expensive grill, man. Sauce Walker, Plug Geo, you dig?
I'm gonna take out the Johnny Dangs and put in the Geos. I'm sorry.
That single line, "I'm sorry," landed as anything but an apology. It landed as a punctuation mark on a decision that had already been made, delivered with the calm of a man who felt zero remorse about what he was doing.
I'm taking out these and I'm upgrading to these.
The word upgrading was the sharpest part of the whole thing. It was not just a switch. It was a ranking, a public declaration that what Plug Geo had built for him was on a completely different level than anything Johnny Deng had ever put in his mouth.
Nothing. We went from 100,000 to 1 million. You know what I'm saying?
The new piece from Plug Geo was described as the world's first permanent $1 million grill. Featured large 3-carat and 1-carat diamonds set in rose gold. It was built to be permanent, not removable, not temporary, but a fixture in his mouth for life. Price tag by Sauce's own telling was more than 10 times what the old grill had cost.
We setting the bar standard in the state of Texas so high that it cannot be beaten. Welcome to Texas.
He was not just buying new jewelry. He was rewriting the story of what was possible in the Texas jewelry scene. And he was doing it loudly, deliberately, with Johnny Deng's name attached to the old chapter. But the switch itself was only one part of the story. What turned this from a business decision into a full scandal was what Sauce said alongside it. He accused Johnny Deng of selling lab-grown diamonds, CVD stones created in a laboratory using a chemical vapor deposition process, while representing them to clients as natural min diamonds. He framed this not as a technicality or a misunderstanding, but as a betrayal. Kind of betrayal that stings harder when it comes from someone you have trusted with hundreds of thousands of dollars over 2 decades. The accusation landed in the middle of a debate that had already been simmering in the jewelry world for years. Lab-grown diamonds are chemically identical to natural ones. They have the same hardness, the same carbon structure, the same optical properties, but they cost a fraction of the price to produce. A 1-carat natural diamond can run several thousand. A 1-carat lab-grown stone can cost a few hundred. In a market where clients are paying premium prices specifically for the prestige of natural stones, the distinction is not cosmetic. It is financial, and if a jeweler charges natural diamond prices for lab-grown stones without disclosure, that is a different conversation entirely. Swala's accusation planted that exact seed. And because he was S. Walker, a Houston legend with 20 years of public association with Johnny Deng's brand, the accusation carried weight that a random internet rumor never would have. Plug Geo stepped in to back him up. Jose Giamatti publicly aligned himself with Assis Walker, framing his own departure from Johnny Deng's orbit as a story of being underpaid despite helping generate millions for the shop. He also alleged that lab-grown stones had been passed off as natural with certifications, adding an insider layer to the accusations that made them feel less like outside noise and more like a credible expose from someone who had actually been inside the operation. The combination of Sauce's public clout, Plug Geo's insider angle, and the pre-existing industry debate over diamond types was enough to send the story into full-blown viral territory. YouTube videos began appearing with titles like "Rappers Expose Johnny Deng," "Rappers Go Off on Johnny Deng," and "Johnny Deng's Houston Store Raided." Social media posts claimed his flagship store had been raided by authorities. Some videos claimed he had been arrested. Others claimed his $200 million empire was on the verge of collapse. The story was spreading faster than anyone could track it. And not all of it was true.
I'm the one spent the $500,000. I did that. I'm the only that got the same necklace that Floyd Mayweather got.
Sauce was not backing down. He was doubling down, making sure every viewer understood that this was not a small client complaining. This was a man who claimed to have matched Floyd Mayweather's jewelry spend and still felt like he had been done wrong.
How many rappers you put the chain on and they walked out this whole, nah, we though. I see you put it on a lot of the rappers. You tried to make a lot of people buy it, and then they took their off.
The implication was sharp that Johnny Deng's client list was built on people who eventually walked away. That the relationship between Johnny and the artist who wore his pieces was not as solid as the public had been led to believe. And that Sauce, by going public, was just saying out loud what others had been saying in private. Whether that was true or not, the story had legs. And now Johnny Deng had to respond. Johnny fires back. When Johnny Deng responded, he did not come out swinging at the fraud claims directly. He came out personal. The multi-part Instagram videos he posted were not the polished PR-managed responses of a brand trying to do damage control. They were the raw, unfiltered words of a man who felt genuinely hurt by what had happened and wanted to say so on camera in real time without a filter between his mouth and the audience watching.
Sauce, how long we know each other, man? Over some 20 years.
That opening line set the entire tone. He was not starting with a denial or a legal statement. He was starting with the relationship. 20 years, the history, the bond that he felt had been publicly disrespected in front of the whole internet.
I never gave you for free, and I never asked for free you know? I'm happy you shop with me.
He was pointing at the foundation. He was saying this was not charity and it was not me doing you favors. It was business, real, paid for, respected business. And in doing that, he was also pushing back against any implication that Sauce had been overcharged or taken advantage of. The relationship in Johnny's telling was always clean and mutual.
You buy jewelry everywhere in LA with my boy Cat in New York. It's all good, it's all love. Everyone needs to make money.
He was making a point that Sauce had always spent money with other jewelers in other cities and that this was never an issue. Problem was not the switch. Problem was the name dropping. The deliberate act of attaching Johnny's name to the transition in a way that made it look like he had failed Sauce, deceived Sauce, or delivered an inferior product.
It's no problem. I know you just spend money for the grill. It's all good. But don't disrespect my name, bro. Can you do that? Don't do that shit.
That was the line that everything in his response came back to. Not the accusations are false. Not here is our GIA certification. Not here is a lawyer. Just put some respect on my name.
I've been busman for over 20 years since I came here from Vietnam. From nothing.
The Vietnam origin story was not incidental. Johnny invoked it with purpose as a way of grounding the audience in the full arc of what he had built. He came to America from nothing. He sold televisions and candy. He worked his way into jewelry. He built a shop that iced out the biggest names in the most visible culture on the planet. And now, after all of that, a man he had known for 20 years was standing in front of a camera using his name to make himself look like he had been selling fakes.
I'm not perfect. I've been busting my every day for years. Working hard, travel, playing hard, but I did respect nobody.
That I'm not perfect admission was a small but notable moment. He was not claiming to be flawless. He was claiming to be honest, to have operated with integrity, even if he had not gotten everything right in the process. In one of the more quietly devastating moves in his response, Johnny also posted a video of the grill he claimed Iswaka had originally been supposed to get from him. He did not frame it as a heated clapback. He just showed it. The design, the diamonds, the craftsmanship, and let the implication do the work. This is what I had ready for you. This is what you walked away from.
I even called you to ask you, hey, let's go together for the dinner, and I even asked you discuss about joining my nail salon so we can make money together.
He had tried to repair things privately. Dinner, a business conversation, a collaboration. All of that had happened behind the scenes before any of this exploded publicly, and in Johnny's telling, Sauce chose the camera over the conversation.
I special design, very, very special. Make sure it precise, good side of the diamond, smooth, so it not be too heavy, too chunky, so you go into wearing for another years without messing your mouth.
The detail he went into about the grill design was its own kind of defense. He was not talking about lab-grown versus natural at this point. He was talking about craft, the precision of the sizing, the weight distribution, the way the piece would sit in the mouth over years without causing damage. This was a man describing a professional standard he had held himself to, even for a client who had now walked away from it.
And for free. Nothing but love, man. You one of the few rappers I've been knowing for over 20 years.
He had made the new grill for free as a gesture, as a peace offering, and it had not been enough.
Nothing but love. I know, man. Some internet, when they hear some free stuff and think, oh, you're going to do the moistenized CVDs, man.
There it was. His direct response to the CVD accusations, not a certification, not a gemologist, just a flat denial delivered with the frustration of someone who felt the accusation was an insult rather than a legitimate concern. He was not engaging with it on a technical level. He was rejecting the premise entirely.
You guys talking shit to another jeweler all day long. Like I say, I always support Houston families, the community, the city where I started from the bottom.
His pivot from the CVD denial back to community and roots was deliberate. He was reframing the entire narrative away from jeweler accused of fraud and back toward Houston legend who built something from nothing and still gives back to the city. It was a calculated rhetorical move, and it landed the way he intended it to.
It's all good. You can shop around the world. You know, you don't need to put my name in there. But if you mention my name, put some respect on my name.
That line, "Put some respect on my name," became the headline of the entire response. It was the part that got clipped, shared, quoted, and replayed because it captured something that went beyond the diamond debate or the jewelry beef. It was about legacy, about what 20 years of work was worth, about the cost of having your name attached to a fraud narrative you did not believe you had earned when AI took over. While Johnny Deng was managing the very real and very human fallout from his public beef with Saucewalla, a second wave of content was building on a completely different level. And this wave was not grounded in anything real at all. As reported by Fox 26 Houston in April 2026, Johnny Deng was forced to confront a flood of hyper-realistic AI-generated deepfake videos that had begun spreading across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. These were not fan edits or obvious parodies. They were fabricated clips and stories that looked and sounded credible enough to fool casual viewers who were already primed by the Saucewalla drama to believe something serious had happened to Johnny's business. The fabricated content claimed that his Houston flagship store had been raided by authorities. Some videos went further, claiming he had been arrested. Others described ongoing federal fraud investigations targeting his business with language designed to sound like it had come from legitimate news sources. Headlines like "Johnny Deng's Houston store raided" and "Johnny Deng arrested for selling rappers fake jewelry" were spreading with the kind of velocity that only comes when an audience is already paying attention and already has a reason to believe the story might be true. And in this case, Saucewalla's public accusations had done exactly that. Created a fertile ground where a fake story about a raid or an arrest felt plausible because the underlying tension was real, even if the specific details being fabricated were not. Johnny Deng pushed back hard on all of it. He labeled the raid and arrest stories and fake news in his own clips and posts. He called out the people spreading them as hating and urged his audience not to believe content that had no official source, no police report, and no credible news organization behind it. His team worked to flag misleading videos and request that platforms remove them. And crucially, no mainstream news outlet confirmed any raid, arrest, or active fraud investigation. No police department issued a statement. No court filings appeared in public records. No credible local Houston news organization, the kind that would have covered a story of that magnitude in their own city, reported anything beyond the social media drama itself. What Fox 26 actually reported was the AI deepfake problem. The story was not Johnny Deng raided. The story was Johnny Deng is a victim of AI-generated misinformation. That is a meaningfully different headline. But it was far less viral than the fabricated versions because it did not give the audience the dramatic conclusion they had been primed to want. The speed and reach of the fabricated content pointed to something broader about the moment hip-hop and social media now exist in together. Pipeline from a real dispute Saucewalla, and his grill switched to a weaponized rumor Johnny Deng arrested store raided took only days, and the engine that powered it was not journalism or even gossip. It was AI-generated content designed to look like reporting seeded into an already emotionally charged conversation and amplified by YouTube algorithms hungry for watch time. The real and underlying debate in all of this, the one that predated Sauce Walker's accusations and will outlast the viral cycle entirely, is the natural versus lab-grown diamond conversation that has been reshaping the jewelry industry for years. Lab-grown diamonds are not fake diamonds in the scientific sense. They are real diamonds chemically, optically, and physically identical to mined stones. The difference is entirely in how they are created. One is pulled from the earth at enormous cost and effort, and the other is grown in a controlled laboratory environment at a fraction of the price. A natural 1-carat diamond might cost $4 or $5,000. A lab-grown 1-carat diamond can be had for a few hundred. In the wider consumer market, lab-grown diamonds have been a genuine disruption, offering buyers access to larger, higher-clarity stones at accessible prices, with some ethical arguments about mining practices making them additionally appealing to certain buyers. But in hip-hop's jewelry culture, the calculus is completely different. Status in that world is not just about how a stone looks. It is about what it costs, what it took to acquire it, and what it signals about the person wearing it. A diamond that costs $4,000 and one that costs $400 do not have the same social meaning. In a culture built around conspicuous consumption, even if they are physically identical under a microscope, in a legitimate 2025 interview with KHOU Houston, Johnny Deng himself acknowledged this reality, noting that many of his rapper clients explicitly want natural diamonds and view lab-grown stones as inferior, even if they are not technically fake. His own website promotes GIA-certified natural diamonds for many of his high-end pieces. And the company does offer lab-grown options at lower price points alongside natural ones. The accusation from Eswaka was not simply that lab-grown stones are bad. It was that he had been paying natural diamond prices for lab-grown stones without knowing it. That is a different claim. And it is one that, if true, would cross from taste dispute into potential fraud territory. But as of early April 2026, no certified gemologist had come forward with verified test results on Sauce Walker's pieces. No independent analysis had been published and no legal action had been filed between S and Johnny, with the entire conflict having played out exclusively on social media. The older corners of the internet. Reddit discussions on our jewelry going back years show that questions about Johnny Deng's stone quality have existed for a while, but always in the form of anecdotal customer complaints or rival shade rather than anything provable. Some discussions raised questions about smaller melee diamonds in intricate pieces or overpricing relative to quality. But none of those conversations produced verified findings, and none escalated into anything legal. What the 2026 wave did was take those pre-existing whispers and amplify them to a roar, using Sauce Walker's name, Plug Joe's insider angle, and a flood of AI-generated supporting content to make a story feel larger and more confirmed than the actual evidence ever supported the verdict. So where does all of this actually land? Title of this video asks a specific question. Did rappers confront Johnny Deng in court over fake jewelry? And the honest answer, after laying out everything that is documented and verifiable, is that what happened was something both simpler and more complicated than a courtroom confrontation. What actually happened was a very public Houston rap and jewelry beef. One that had real roots in a genuine 20-year relationship, real money, real hurt feelings, and real disagreement about what Sauce Walker had received for what he spent. Walked into a competing jeweler, spent $1 million on a new grill, and used Johnny Deng's name to frame the upgrade on camera. That was real. That happened. The fallout from it was real and still unresolved. What was not real was the layer of drama that AI-generated content and social media amplification built on top of it. No store was raided. No arrest happened. No court case was filed. Fox 26 Houston covered the AI deepfake problem. Not a police action. The court in the title of this video, and in dozens of others like it, was the court of public opinion, which is a real and consequential place in the internet age, but is not the same thing as a criminal proceeding or a civil lawsuit. The rappers who supposedly confronted Johnny en masse, the wave of major artists filing complaints, testing their pieces, coming forward with verified accusations that did not happen on any documented or verifiable scale. Saswaka was the story. Plug Geo backed him up as a former insider, and the rest of the rappers in those viral thumbnails were largely clip compilations of reactions to the SWAK drama, rather than independent accusers. Lil Wayne still wears Johnny Deng. Drake has not spoken on it publicly. None of the other longtime high-profile clients, Travis Scott, Cardi B, Gucci Mane, put out verified statements accusing him of anything in this wave. What this story actually is underneath all the layers of social media noise and AI fabrication is a portrait of what happens when a decade-long personal business relationship breaks down in public in an industry where loyalty, money, and pride are impossible to separate from each other. Saucewalla genuinely felt like he had not gotten what he deserved after 20 years and $500,000. Johnny Deng genuinely felt like a man he had treated like family had disrespected everything he built by using his name in a public flexing session. Both of those things can be true at the same time. The lab-grown versus natural diamond debate is also real, and it is not going away. The jewelry industry is changing. Lab-grown stones are getting better and cheaper every year. The gap between what a natural diamond costs and what a lab-grown one costs is only going to widen. And in a culture where the price of a stone has always been part of its meaning, the gap is going to keep creating friction between jewelers and clients, between artists and their audience, and between what something costs and what it is actually worth. But fraud requires more than accusations. It requires evidence, verified test results, legal filings, credible third-party documentation, and as of early April 2026, none of that exists in this story. What exists is Sauce Walker's word on Instagram, Plug Joe's allegations from a competitor's perspective, and a mountain of AI-generated content designed to make those two data points look like a federal investigation. Johnny Deng is still operating. His shop is still open. His social media is still active. He is still posting new custom pieces and responding to the haters with the same combination of frustration and pride that he has carried since the days when he sold televisions out of a Houston storefront and nobody knew his name yet. Found this information exciting and unbelievable? Be sure to check out other similar and amazing videos on the screen. Thanks again for watching.